shortly afterwards. Get started here in just a sec.
Let's get crack-a-lackin'.
All right, let's go ahead and start with M. Adler. M, go ahead.
Hey, so just wanted to start off. I was wondering what you guys have looked at in terms of film study, what you'd been able to pull from the Liberty's strategy against Phoenix, specifically how they were able to sort of pull BG in space.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's every team in the league's scouting report. Obviously you watch the game and you can, see some things and learn some things. At the same time, we are who we are, so we have to play to our strengths. The same way the Liberty played to theirs. We've played Phoenix recently, which is obviously a good and a bad thing. But we've learned more, I think, from watching ourselves against them than anything else.
Gotcha. And then going into a game like this, what's the balance? I mean, on both sides, really, what's the balance between trying to get yourselves mentally, psychologically in the zone for this kind of game versus trying to prepare extra hard for the game plan?
I'm a big believer in not changing your preparation. I think, all the work and all the things that needed to be done, those were done in the off season. All the work in terms of building your team identity and figuring out who you are, that was done, in training camp in the early parts of the year. And then you kind of build on that as you go. So when you get to these moments, it is just about, scouting reports, preparing for a team, and going out there and just kind of letting it ride, going out there and playing. I'm like I said, a big believer in not changing how you approach these games.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
To Michelle Vopel. Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, Sue, I know this is just asking you to speculate, which probably isn't fair, but when you have two such enormously important players like D for them and Stewie for you, do you have a sense if we're going to see either one of them tomorrow, or do you kind of just have to go out there and say, hey, we didn't have them the last game, we don't know. I just wonder how you approach, when there's two big names like that we're not certain of.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we know Stewie's status, so we've been preparing, with that knowledge. So that's good for us. The same way they know D's status. But the unique part is obviously when you don't know the other team's status of what, a player like Diana, if she's going to be there or not. So I'll get to the answer. We have to prepare for both things. You have to go out there and have an understanding that when you have a player of D's caliber, similar to Stewie, it changes the entire complexion of the game. So while maybe certain things like pick and roll play, how we're going to guard those things, those small things might not change, but just understanding the minute D steps on the court, it changes everything. So we've had to kind of talk about two different Phoenix teams and kind of get our minds wrapped around that. But it is, like I said, it is good that we played them recently. So we already got a taste of what they're like without D, but we haven't played them with D this whole year. We've only watched film. So, it makes for a unique preparation. You got to have two minds. But hopefully we'll know soon, and we can just flip the switch and go with the one scheme.
You've been doing this a long time. When you go into a game like this, are you just thinking game plan? This is what's going on. The rest of us are thinking, oh my God, these two teams have had these epic matchups for such a long time. But is it different when you're a player in that you're not bringing a lot of history, if you will, into it?
Yeah. And I'm not saying this is no shade. You really only think about it when you're asked questions.
Sure.
I think, every year the rosters are different. Yes, there are some, main players that are the same. BG, Diana, myself, Stewie, Jewell. But for the most part, after that, these teams are much different. Skylar wasn't on Phoenix a couple years ago when we had, the 5-game series. Neither was Kia Nurse. Neither was a lot of those players. Ironically, Steph was, but now she's on our team. So it does kind of change, but I can appreciate a rivalry. I can appreciate, epic games throughout the course of players' careers. Obviously the storylines with me and D being close friends, the storyline of the 5 of us, six of us, 3 for their team, 3 for our team being, teammates on the Olympic teams. Like, I appreciate the storylines of it. And I love that that's the conversation, but as a player, no, you just go out there and it's this one game is unique to this year.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Michelle. And let's go to Fago Franklin. Fago, go ahead. There you go, Franklin. Go ahead.
Oh,
you go.
hey, how you doing, Sue?
Hi, good, thanks.
How do you contain BG and Sophie Cunningham?
um, I mean, BG is poof, a nightmare. And that's the best compliment I can give. You know, you have to give her a ton of attention. She is not the type of player that you can guard one-on-one. And we're one of the lucky teams in that we have a player like Mercedes, we have a player like Ezzy, players that are tall, they're strong, can match up with her physicality. And even with that, you know, that we're going to have to send two to her at times. And what that does is it opens things up for their entire team. And I think, you know, Sophie Cunningham stepped up for them big time. There's no question about that the other day. And they have multiple players who can do that. You know, that that's what their team is built in that way, to put shooters around BG to give teams like us fits, knowing that we're going to have to be in scramble mode. But you just have to go out there and try to make it, you know, as unpredictable and as hard for them as possible, understanding that when you double team BG, you are giving up something. So you just have to be willing to live with that.
And my last question is, what does it mean to you to see the WNBA getting the national attention that it deserves?
Yeah, it's wonderful. I think the league is just continuing to grow, and you know, a lot of times people ask me, oh, what do we need to do? Well, we just need to do what we're doing, put an amazing product on the court. I think the first two playoff games are a good sign of that, and just keep going from there. Just keep doing what we're doing.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
All right, thanks a lot, Vigo. Let's go to Alexa. Go ahead, Alexa.
Hi, Sue. This is Alexa Philippi from the Hartford Courant. This is a non-basketball question, if you don't mind, but we saw that you were part of the Supreme Court filing, moving or asking the Supreme Court to protect abortion rights. And I was curious if you could speak to why you wanted to be part of that, and also this whole idea of the intersection of sports and Title IX and abortion access, how you see that kind of being involved with this whole group of 500 athletes, women's athletes, signing this brief.
Yeah, I think it was important to be a part of this because I'm a big believer on women being able to have a choice on what they do with their bodies. You know, simultaneously, you know, how do I phrase this? It shouldn't just fall on women. You know, I mean, for lack of a better, it takes two to tango. And I just feel like this, you know, what's happening in Mississippi and of course in Texas is just, it's just not right. And I think as athletes, yes, there's an element where our bodies are part of our career. And so there's a lot of things that go into a decision like that, given what it takes for us and what we need to do. But this isn't just about athletes. Yes, it was a group of athletes. Yes, we were talking about being athletes, but this is a way for us to use our platforms to speak for all women, because this affects every single one of us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, thanks. And let's go to Holly Rowe. Holly, go ahead.
That's awkward to go to a basketball question after that eloquent answer, but I wanted to know about you guys have not been in a one and done situation like this in a few years in the playoffs. What sense of anxiety / urgency is different for your group this time?
I haven't really sensed the anxiety. You know, we all know what's at stake. We all understand what's happening. We've used the word urgency a lot. And you know, I just think about my career. I think about the coaches I've played for, particularly Brian Agler. This was his go-to line. The hungrier team wins. And that's really what this league is. Yes, talent helps 100%. Don't get me wrong. But on any given night, it's usually the hungrier team that can pull out the W. And so that to me is where our focus needs to be versus, you know, the emotion of a one and done scenario. You know, it is different. It is different versus a game 5, even though that is one and done. You've just gone through a series, you know, the teams, you know each other well. It's a different feel than just showing up one day and, oh, if you lose, you go home. But like I said, I think the focus has been on more so the urgency and the hunger versus, like you said, the anxiety part of it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we have one more question. Jessa, go ahead, Jessa.
Hi, Sue. Jessa from Just Women's Sports. Just wondering if you could talk a bit about your chemistry with Jewell Loyd. You both had dominant performances against Phoenix last time you played them. So maybe what you're taking from that into this next game.
Yeah, I love playing with Jewell. Jewell, I think the best part is from, Jewell, her rookie year to now has just shown so much growth, so much, maturity. She really understands, who she is as a basketball player and, you know, within a game is trying to get into to certain spots, trying to create certain, space for herself. And I think that's what was on display against Phoenix, a week or so ago. Just Jewell kind of in her element, Jewell doing what she does best. And for me, when you see a player like Jewell doing that, you're just trying to get her the ball, and that's I think where our chemistry, through the years has developed to such where I understand, okay, is Jewell doing well in pick and rolls? Boom, let's get her there. Okay, is Jewell doing well off the ball? Boom, let's put her in those types of actions. So just kind of reading each other and understanding. And there was what's so great about that game against Phoenix, and this speaks to her growth. She obviously went off in the first half.
Yes.
You know.
Bring it up.
Oop, Holly, mute.
All right, thanks so much.
So she obviously went off in the first half, and then there was a little bit of a lull there. But then who made the big play down the stretch when obviously we had a lead that Phoenix cut into, and who made the big play? It was Jewell getting that 3-point play on BG. So even after an amazing first quarter, amazing first half, a little bit of a lull, she still was able to kind of bounce right back and make a huge play. And that's what you want to see in one of your go-to players.
Thank you so much.
No
And
problem.
sorry, we have one more, Sue. Probably, I apologize. I missed Jeff there. Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Sue?
Jeff Metcalf, go ahead.
How do you contain BG and Sophie Cunningham?
I'm sorry, it's hard to hear. What? How do I?
And Jeff, I don't think if you're on, you have a question, go ahead and unmute
Can
yourself.
you hear me now?
Oh, there you go. There you
Yeah,
go. You're
sorry.
good. Yep.
Just wanted to talk about the challenge of throwing a lot of defensive resources at Griner versus throwing them at Skylar, and if there's an ability to do both, or you have to pick and choose.
You have to do both. You can't not show attention to two players that have the talent that BG has, that have the talent that Skylar has. You have to be able to do both. The good news is we have practice in that, and that we've played them, a couple times, and of course, most recently. The bad news is they put you in, I mentioned this earlier, it puts you in a lot of scramble situations. But we're the type of team where we're kind of already built for that. It's something we work on a lot, not just when we're playing Phoenix. We play this style. It's no secret to anybody. We're a team that likes to trap. We're a team that likes to mix it up on defense, change our coverages. So luckily for us, that's something that we kind of already have in our arsenal. But again, those two players in particular are very challenging when it comes to the attention that they both garner. And it, like I said, it makes for a lot of scramble situations. And that's why you might see what you saw, or not might see, I don't mean that to say future. I meant to say that's why you see, the backside 3-pointers that you see, whether it's Sophie Cunningham, Kia Nurse, Shea Petty, so on and so forth, because they cause you and they force you to show them so much attention to, they meaning BG and Skylar.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks, Sue. And we'll have Coach Quinn here in just a few minutes.
All right, and we are set with Coach Quinn. Coach, why don't you just open us up real quick with your thoughts on today's practice and final preparations for tomorrow's game?
For sure. Another day, another time to get prepared for Phoenix. We've had some days to work on them, and obviously seeing them how they look Thursday was good information for how we should be preparing. And I thought that our focus was there, our intensity is there, and just kind of ready to get rolling on Sunday.
All right, thanks, Coach. Let's go ahead and open things up with Michelle Vogel. Michelle, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, Coach, I know you said yesterday with Brianna Stewart that she hadn't been practicing. Is there any new update on her at this point? And I asked Sue about this, the fact that, obviously with Stewie and Diana Taurasi, they haven't played. How does that fit into your preparation? Because I guess both sides maybe are kind of figuring out what the other may be doing and don't know.
For sure. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Let me start by
well.
saying that. How are you? How's your energy?
It's good. Thank you.
Good. We just released a statement. Stewie will be out for tomorrow.
Okay.
And so, our preparation, we've practiced without her, and we've had a game without her as well the last time we played Phoenix. So, on our end, we are unsure. We've been preparing as if Diana is going to play, but knowing how the team plays without her is beneficial for us, because we understand, with the way that we play, how we have to approach things now with Diana on the floor. Obviously, things are a little bit more difficult and tricky, having an amazing player on the floor like that. But understanding also that we haven't seen Diana play this season with them against us as well. So a little bit different information, but I think our approach remains the same with our energy and our effort. No matter who's on the floor, we have to lock in on the details and understand that the game plans and the X's and O's, like, they will come into play. But if our energy and effort is where it needs to be, then we can find some success in that game, hopefully.
And I guess if I could follow up really quick, obviously Jewell had a tremendous game against Phoenix. Can you talk about her ability? I mean, she's a good player all the time, but it just seems like she has a big game ability and a big moment ability that kind of defines star players.
Absolutely. And, not even that particular game, obviously it was amazing, the 22 points, how locked in she was offensively. I always point to what she did defensively as well. Guarding Skylar, using her aggressiveness and just being locked in on the defensive end, I think has really shifted the type of player that she is becoming. And if you understand, the evolution of Jewell, we know that she's a bucket. She can go get a bucket. Now it's the growth in her leadership, the growth of defending on the other side of the floor and kind of putting it all together in a package. And so in games like this, yes, you want to rely on her ability to hit shots. We have to rely on that ability, but also we need to rely on her ability to get stops on the other end of the floor.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Let's go over to M. Adler. M, go ahead.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Em, what's up? Wait, hold on. How are you? How's your energy today?
Doing all right. A little underslept the past couple days. We're trying to recover.
All right.
It's tough. It's midterm season.
Okay, I understand that. I took midterms a long time ago, so just giving you some good energy, good vibes for you.
I appreciate that. It helps a lot.
Good.
I know we talked yesterday about the offensive adjustments. Just wondering, looking back at what the Liberty did, they have a lot of length. They're very switchable, even 1 through 5. I know that helped them a lot, especially on the backside, being able to help on and off BT versus, sort of hanging on the middle on the 2 backside shooters. I was wondering what your different lineups might enable you to do with that, or how you'll have to adjust differently.
BG's a load, and no matter who you send to her, obviously, she still has an ability to maneuver and make those passes out and score. And so I think the aggressiveness that we will have, the length that we will have, is in our front court, with Sadie's and Ezzy. But, we threw KB out there, and she has some length as well. And I think the biggest thing is getting to shooters. So understanding we have to impact BG, we have to impact Skylar and DT. It's a lot going on, but within that, we can't let Sophie get comfortable. We can't let Nurse and Petty just see like daylight on that backside. And so there it is. It's a conscious effort of making sure we're taking away the first looks in those elite players, but also making sure there are others, are spoken for as far as we're getting to them in rotations and getting to them on the catch.
Gotcha. I think I might have not enunciated properly and then helping off with BT.
Off of Turner. Sorry, I thought you said BG.
Sorry, my
So
bad.
you said helping off of Turner, and what was the other aspect of it?
Just in terms of how they were able to help off of her.
Yeah,
And if she
they took they took a page out of
getting
page out of our book a little bit. Also, a lot of teams have been doing that. We found some success in that last game, but I'm telling you, Sandy's amazing, and they're going to adjust to that. And so it is a game of chess, adjusting to the adjustment in that. Does Turner dive more? Does she set more back screens? Maybe, but they know what we're doing, so we've prepared for that.
And then just wrap it up. If it certainly looks like DT is probably not going to be available just based on how she's been practicing with them, but if she is versus if she's not, how does that change how you're able to hedge and force the ball to players who aren't as good of playmakers?
Honestly, it doesn't. They've been playing this long without DT, and she's great. Obviously, we know she's the GOAT, and her just being in the vicinity on the floor, it makes a difference. But that team without her has found success, and they know how to play. And so it is your focus is taking Skylar out of her comfort, taking BG out of her, but they have other players that can make some plays, and I think it's just the focus does not change, the effort does not change.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Em. Let's go to Fago Franklin. Fago, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
Fago, how are you? How's your energy today?
It's going well. How about yours?
I'm good. Good vibes all around.
Amen. Thank you for asking.
No problem.
So talk to me a little bit about Jewell's improvement as a leader on and off the court.
It's amazing. I'm impressed, and I'm super proud. Obviously, having been her teammate and playing with her, understanding her growth has been huge. And the evolution of her, it's like she's blossoming into this beautiful butterfly, so to speak, and within our league, she came into our league young, and a lot of us forget about that. And having that learning curve and just, becoming a professional, learning how to do that. And right now she's like our young vet, and so to speak, and that's how it changes with our league. It changes so fast. What she's done on the floor, obviously, with her game and, the statistics, the scoring, the defending. She came into training camp ready and prepared, and I think she's done an excellent job of mentally getting her mind where it needs to be, at the beginning of a season, physically working on her body. And then, I can talk about Jewell off the court, all the things that she does, within her, within our community, within our team. I think I will continue to vouch for her, because I think a lot of times people undervalue her or don't show her enough love. And I will always shout on the mountaintop about how great she has been, and, how she's continued to grow. She's not, at her greatness quite yet. I think she's just forming into it. And to me, that is beautiful to understand that there's still so much room for her to grow. So I'm super proud of her.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks, Fago. And Jeff Metcalf, we'll go over to you, Jeff.
Hi, Noelle.
Hi, Jeff. How are you? How's your energy?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks for asking for all of us. So the stakes from the game 8 or 9 days ago were, getting the bye and getting to play at home. How much value is that going into this game tomorrow?
A lot of value. It's a good, good to be playing in front of our fans, not having to travel. Playing in Everett has been great for us. We played there the last 2 years. Understanding it's an early game, so we wake up and we're right at it. And just being at home, just a little bit more comfort, in the things that you can do, good night rest in your own bed, and, just a normal routine. And hopefully being able to use our fans as more motivation and give us some momentum.
And also, Sue said it's kind of a mixed thing with having your last game having been that Phoenix game. I think what she meant by that is, you know more about them, but they know more about you. How do you look at this having these two games so close together?
I'll take it as advantageous in a way because two things happened. One, we played really well, and we played without Stewie, but also just understanding like that game just happened, and there's Phoenix had a game against New York, so there's not a lot that they can do different. Yes, they will adjust. Yes, they're professionals, and yes, Sandy's amazing. But having the advantage of just feeling good going into that game, knowing that we were in a good spot, not being complacent, that's different. But understanding that we found some success and we worked on some things that we can counter to as well. And so having that game so close is, I look at it as an advantage.
Good, thank you.
No problem.
Thanks. And Michelle, I saw your hand still raised. Just wanted to double check that you did not have another question.
No, I'm okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Perfect. And Alexa, I saw that you just joined us. Did you have a question for Coach before we let her go?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Then
Thank you.
we'll see you tomorrow for the playoff game. Thank you.